Over the last few years, tens of thousands of UK homes have been affected by safety notices linked to tumble dryers. In most cases, these involve older machines and issues like heat buildup, restricted airflow, or missed maintenance. Add rising electricity costs to the mix, and suddenly how a dryer works, how much energy it uses, and how it manages heat matters more than it used to. So let's break down the three main types of tumble dryer: vented, condenser, and heat pump, how they work, and which one makes sense depending on your home and lifestyle. Vented tumble dryers. These are the most traditional type. They heat the air, dry your clothes, and push the moisture straight outside through a hose, usually through a wall or window. They're simple and effective, but you do need access to external venting. Condenser dryers don't vent air outside. Instead, they remove moisture from the air and collect it as water in a tank that you empty. That makes them easy to place in most homes. Heat pump dryers reuse warm air inside the machine rather than constantly heating their way. This is what makes them much more energy efficient and why they've become far more common in recent years. Vented dryers are usually the cheapest to buy and fairly quick at drying clothes. The trade-off is high electricity use, the need for proper venting and airflow, and higher running costs over time. They're fine if you only use a dryer occasionally. Condenser dryers sit in the middle. They're more flexible to install and easier to live with, but they still use a fair amount of energy, and you do need to stay on top of emptying the water tank. Heat pump dryers focus on energy efficiency. They use far less energy, cost less to run over time, and are generally gentler on clothes. They do cost more upfront and cycles can take longer, but for regular use they tend to make more sense. If you live in a flat or don't have easy access to external venting, vented dryers usually aren't practical. That's where condenser and heat pump dryers come in. If you live in a house with a utility room or only use a dryer occasionally, a vented dryer can still work fine. For families or anyone using a dryer more than several times a week, heat pump dryers usually come out on top once you factor in energy use and running costs. To put this into real-world context, vented dryers are still available if you want something simple and affordable. Condenser dryers sit nicely in the middle for flexibility. Heat pump dryers from brands like Bosch, Samsung and LG focus heavily on efficiency, airflow management and fabric care, which lines up where most modern standards and expectations are heading. We stock options across all three, so it's about matching the dryer to how you'll actually use it. Broadly speaking, vented dryers are the cheapest up front, condenser dryers sit mid-range, and heat pump dryers cost more to buy. If you use a dryer regularly, heat pump models often work out cheaper over time because of how little energy they use per cycle. There isn't one tumble dryer that's right for everyone. It comes down to where it's going, how often you use it, and whether you're thinking about more upfront costs or long-term running costs. If you want help choosing specific models, that's exactly what we do here at Family Vision. Head to our website or get in touch and we'll help you make the right choice.